Hello there and welcome. It's pond season and I have built myself a small outdoor pond. It holds about 500 litres, but it just sits on my patio looking nice. As you can see, I've already got a good selection of plants around this pond. I have a couple of species of bushy type plants and I've got a few reeds and irises. But at present they are in their stock pots, which isn't really ideal for them as it won't allow the roots to grow out and they'll eventually get root bound and not do very well. So today I'm going to show you how to pot up these plants. Now, potting up pond plants is actually fairly simple. It's very much like potting up terrestrial plants. However, there are a few factors that you will need to consider. Some of these plants like to be potted up differently to others. So the first thing you're going to need are some pots. I've gone for the kidney shaped pot. I'm going to put 2 plants in each of these pots. The other things you're going to need are some gravel. Now I've bought pond gravel because I like the colour of it, however you can just use normal pea gravel. And some plant soil. So plant soil is slightly different to normal compost. It won't leach much into your pond. You can see here my plant selection. So the left side is a combination of irises and typha, which is a bulrush. On the right side are the more traditional bushy kind of plants with lovely flowers. From left to right of those 4 is mimula, lobelia, creeping jenny and mentha aquatica, which gives off a really nice smell. I really like the minty smell. And you can also use it in your food preparation, so it's a bit of a herb as well. So although these are all aquatic or semi-aquatic plants, they do require different potting techniques. So the 4 plants on the left, the iris and bulrush types, are ones I've added to this pond because they take out a lot of nutrients from the water column. And this will help to reduce the nitrates and phosphates within the pond as they grow. You can see my pond's quite green. These plants haven't been in there that long, and I'm hoping once they've grown a bit, that green water will go away because these plants are going to take away a lot of the nutrients that feed the algae. Now because of this, the 4 on the left, the irises and the reeds, need to be planted just purely in gravel. And this will allow the roots not to be taking nutrients out of the soil, but to be taking the nutrients out of the water. Now the 4 plants on the right are slightly different. They will be taking nutrients out of the water a little bit, however they do prefer to be planted directly into soil. Now here's my selection and all the equipment that I need to get going. So the first ones we're going to plant will be the reed type plants, the ones that like to go purely in the gravel. So the first thing you want to do is put your gravel into your basket. Notice the basket's got holes all the way through it, and give it a good rinse. And you can use just normal tap water for this, but you'll find most of this gravel will be quite dirty. Just give it a thorough rinse. There you can see all the grime coming out of it. Obviously you don't want that in your pond because it will make your pond go a bit murky and kind of defeat the point of why we are putting these kind of plants in there, because we want them to suck a lot of the nutrients out of the pond and hopefully clearing it up. So once you've done that, you want to take your plant out of the pot. These ones aren't too badly root bound yet, and just make a small hole for the plant to go into. You don't need to break the soil up because they're not root bound at this stage, and also if you break them up you can cause the plants to go into shock, and then just cover them up a little bit like that. Make your gap for the other plant to go into and just pop it in there like so. So obviously we want to put a little bit more gravel in there. I'd like them to be completely covered. Again, wash the gravel first before you put it in there and just cover the plants entirely. You might think covering them up completely is going to do some damage to them, but they'll just grow straight through the gravel. It won't compact them too much. And that's it. That's how you plant reeds and irises. Very simple, just some gravel. So the next ones we're going to pot will be the more bushy plants. So here you can see lobelia and mimula. These ones are slightly more root bound, but still I won't be pulling the roots apart because that may make the lobelia go into shock. And there we've got our plant soil. So you don't want to rinse this out because this shouldn't be too dirty, and that's why it's designed for ponds. Make a small hole and just put the plant straight in. Now you just compact it down around the edge. This is pretty similar to how you plant terrestrial plants, exactly the same. Give it a nice push. The only difference is we won't need to water these in because they're going to be going straight into a pond, and the pond water will just go straight into the soil and everything will be okay. Now on top of this is an optional thing, and I like to do it, and that is add some gravel on top. Now the reason being is twofold. Firstly, it looks a bit nicer, a bit neater. And secondly, if you've got koi in your pond, even goldfish, and this pot will be going slightly below the surface, then it will stop the koi from digging in the soil and disrupting your plants. So I've just repeated the process 2 more times. And now we've got 4 pots full of lovely replanted plants, and this looks a lot neater than it did before in the horrible stock pots. These pots are big enough to give these plants a few years of growth before needing replanting. Here they are in the pond. How much nicer do they look? I'm going to be keeping these plants slightly above the water level, but there's no reason why they couldn't be down to the water's surface. Given a couple of weeks or months of growth, these plants are going to bush out into these pots. Hopefully when they're growing they'll be removing a lot of the nutrients from this pond, and that water will go a lot clearer. So that's the simple process of replanting pond plants. Obviously you don't need to go for a kidney shaped basket, there's many different types on the market. So thank you for watching my video, hope you've enjoyed it and it's been useful. If you have liked it, please like and subscribe. Also do visit my Patreon page, become a patron, it will really help me out. Once again, thank you for watching and happy fish keeping!